All right, we're back. Next lobby is loading, so we're going to be getting this set up quick. We did see a really good game there. Really impressed. I do enjoy. I'm not the biggest fan of Zerg myself, but I'm a big fan of Spiderslayer.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
We have casted him before, so that's cool. We do have a Master versus Diamond right now, but it was a very even game, I would say.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was clear that in certain situations that Spiderslayer had the macro advantage, or the micro advantage rather. But Dancer had incredible positioning throughout a lot of that. He was able to defend his pylon very well for a long time, and that at the end of the game there, when he runs forward, when he's trying to just end the game by killing Spiderslayer's base and his spawning pool that was going down, trying to kill those buildings before the Mutalisk came back. I like that gamble. I like that, at least he's like, well, I'm not just going to sit here till a draw or whatever, or until he's able to mine enough to come back and kill me. I'm actually going to take action and try and do something to win this game. Yeah,
it boiled down to, like we said, just the fact that Spiderslayer had money. And in that base trade scenario, I mean, the person with money and workers wins the game. So we predicted it would be Spiderslayer win or a draw, and the fact that Spiderslayer was able to, get it down, and it takes a lot of skill and a lot of control to be able to get the other player in that position where they have to stay in a box. So once you get them to have to stay in that box, then you can, as he did, get a base set up and start mining. Even if it's just with a few drones, it's something. It's moving forward when the other player can't at all.
Absolutely. So the next map that we're going into is going to be Akalon Wastes. Our players are readied up, so we are ready to get into this game.
All right, let's do it. As you can hear, we are in the countdown phase, and the game will be starting very shortly. It's going to be Akalon Wastes, as you said. Another Zerg versus Protoss. And here we go. In the lower right-hand corner, we have our victor from the last game. He is wearing yellow this afternoon or morning. It is Spiderslayer.
And in the top left-hand corner, narrowly losing that base race scenario, it is Dancer.
I do love seeing games like that, though. I'll be quite honest with you. It's it is quite the. It puts on a good show. And Spiderslayer mocking me a little bit there. At one point when I actually played StarCraft more, I was a little bit higher level than I am now, but alas, life gets in the way and we can't play these things as much as we want. But we're here casting today, and it's a pleasure to be here. I am Wingnut SC, and to my left, that you can't see right now, but he is actually to my left, is Galligation. We're your casters for this event, and it's going to be pretty cool. A lot of cool players here, a lot of cool space, and so far it's been pretty exciting.
Absolutely, and I am really excited to see what's going to happen in this game. We had a really exciting game last time. It seemed like Spiderslayer kind of controlled the tempo of the game for the most part, but Dancer was able to come back in and just decided, we're going to do an all-out base trade, and in the end it didn't end up working out for him, but we'll see if he's able to put something together this time.
We do have a different build out of Dancer this time. He's going with an in-base gateway, so maybe a gateway expand as opposed to his straight-out expand. Spiderslayer did give him quite a bit of trouble with this drone scout here in trying to get his wall established and his expansion established, so maybe he's like, you know what, I'm just going to build it in my base so that I can't be hindered, and then go from there. But he is taking double gas, so definitely not going to be a very quick expand. But Spiderslayer does see that, so he's going to know what's coming his way.
Yeah, he knows exactly what's going on in there. Now the probe is arriving in Spiderslayer's base as well, and immediately getting attacked by some of those drones. Doesn't see the pool, because there isn't one yet. He doesn't see one, and is now going down to check on that expo, which he will see, because it does exist.
Yeah, so we have 2 workers in each gas for Dancer. This is fairly common when you're going for a warp gate blink or a mothership core blink, potentially, so that could be a thing. We'll just have to see what he does. Now a 3rd probe put in each gas, so timing his economy here, but very quick 3rd base from Spiderslayer. I mean, knowing that this is actually kind of ballsy, going in there and seeing double gas, gateway, cybercore going down, say, you know what, I'm going to take 3 bases.
Yeah, and that pool just now going down, so Dancer has to know that that pool was somewhat delayed, and has to now he's running over to see if that 3rd base exists, which he will find out that it does. So, did he pull back?
Oh, he did.
Interesting.
So I think not seeing a drone, you're going to assume that the 3rd base is there at this point. So I don't know that he actually needs to physically see it other than to just verify. But I think the more important thing that he's doing right now is just keeping tabs on what's going on in the base. He's seeing drones being made, seeing that pool going down, and the gas. So speed probably going to be on the way at some point, assuming he gets drones there in that gas. Expansion now going down for Dancer.
Dancer's Mothership Core has come out on the scene as well.
And this is actually, I'm curious what Dancer's going to do with all of his gas here, but it is a good play for him to put down this expanse. You know, not seeing the third base, but knowing there is going to be one. You know, he's not going to be under any pressure anytime soon. So if he doesn't take that expansion, then he's almost in a rough spot, because if he doesn't do something very aggressive and get a lot of damage done, he's way behind.
Absolutely. Those two workers were dancing around there at that Zelnaga, but they decided to break off the routine, and now Zerglings are running over, realizing there's really not a whole lot of defensive units here for Dancer. All he's really got are these couple sentries to dissuade that, and the Mothership Core, of course, which they'll be able to see, so he'll be able to get these the necessary force fields down to plug that hole.
Yeah, he's just going to be able to plug it with the sentries. Good play by Dancer to get that other pylon down. And the Mothership Core out here just to do a little bit of pre-damage to the Zerglings too, so to
Soften
make the job a little bit easier for those
exactly.
cannons. So it looked like Dancer wanted to put down a third base, but there was an Overlord here which he saw and was scouted, so maybe he decided not to, but there's a Stargate in the front wall here.
And Spiderslayer is aware that that's there. He does know that it is a Stargate, and it doesn't look like there's been any reaction from him just yet on that.
So Phoenix coming out, so this is an interesting play I like to see. You know, the most common thing, although there's been some variation lately, is you get 4 or 5 Phoenix and then tech into Colossus and use the Phoenix to keep the Zerg back. But we've been seeing. This is very fragile, though. I mean, if you get too many Phoenix, then you're very weak and can't handle the big roach pushes. If you get too little, then you just don't do enough damage.
Yeah, it's definitely a very fine balance, and Spiderslayer now getting those Spore Crawlers and the Spine Crawlers. Not entirely sure what the Spine Crawlers are for just yet.
Yeah, I mean, there's always could be things behind it, but the big thing is here that Dancer did miss this Overlord that the Phoenix just flew just out of the range of initially.
It is taking it down now, and you know, a lot of times I have seen, you know, this Stargate play being followed up by Warp Gate play, and I think that that's what Spiderslayer is preparing for at the front of his natural and his third base here.
Spiderslayer getting his gas going here, rallying 3 workers into 4 gas. You know, he is protecting his third base pretty well, as his units are pretty light so far. I mean, he just has 2 Zerglings on the map and a whole lot of drones.
And those Phoenix are doing the rounds, making the rounds, trying to make sure they pick off every single one of those Overlords that are strewn about the map.
And here comes the Robo down for Dancer, so it's going to be probably into Colossus, potentially Warp Prism, so that's on the table, and Void Ray now coming out. So this is a bit of a deviation from the standard build, I would say. And this Sentry Galgation, man, this Sentry, he is just working his little heart out.
He really is. He's got that tickle cannon on overdrive.
He's working overtime today.
He sure is.
Phoenix are coming in. Can pick up a couple of these drones here. They're being rallied, but flies right into the Spore Crawlers, has to get out. So he had a chance to kill a couple drones there. Didn't quite get it done, but you know, the drone count for Spiderslayer is going up and up and up.
That is 68 drones to the 48 probes. And, you know, I mean, when you're on 3 base, you're just going to be able to explode economically. You're going to be able to make all that. And, wow, he's got 2 Spires going down now, so he wants to get all the upgrades for those air units. It's likely that we'll see some Corruptors come out and some Mutalisks both to deal with both the Phoenix and the Void Rays.
Well, and, you know, I think he maybe gets the sense that he's doing this Colossus transition here, which he is. The Robo Bay is about to finish. So, you know, Corruptors are going to be a thing. But actually, you know, the interesting thing here is he's making Void Rays out of this Stargate. Void Rays are super good against Corruptors. So, you know, it's up in the air is what happened here. You do have a full energy Mothership Core as well.
Spiderslayer does get down the hatchery for his 4th base amidst the 3 Phoenix that are just kind of parked on top of it.
Yeah, Spiderslayer is definitely mining lots of gas now, has 3 workers in gas at all of his bases, and Spiderslayer is definitely one that is, you know, he's just an expander.
Oh, absolutely.
So once we've seen that so much. As he started looking good in the last game, he double and even triple expanded. So he's going to try and get on a good position here, but Dancer seems to be, which this isn't a bad thing, seems to be a more passive, just defend, 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 which is, it seems like a lot of Protoss are doing lately.
It can work very well for the Protoss.
So more Void Rays coming out. This Zergling is going to see the image of the Void Ray being warped in. I think that's the first sight of the Void Ray for Spiderslayer. Double upgrades now coming down for the air units. I was about to say Mutalisk, but there are 5 Corruptors and 9 Mutalisks en route. We haven't seen a fleet beacon from Dancer, so I'm not sure that he knows what's going to be coming his way, but he has a lot of things that don't shoot up.
Yes, he absolutely does. And I mean, these Zerglings are trying to run around the map and do some damage. They're not really able to get in too much. But what they are doing is keeping Dancer busy, and so he's able to continue to get these upgrades for the units that he wants to get. Does have a couple Corruptors out right now, and is going to be continuing to add on to that.
Looking at the vision of Dancer, he has not seen the spires of Spiderslayer either, so he is completely in the dark of the air units that are going to be coming his way. But honestly, he hasn't seen much from Spiderslayer, so one would potentially assume that would be a thing. But now Spiderslayer taking his 5th base as well. So I suppose the downside of playing like Dancer is here, being totally, defending, and it works to build your army up, but it basically gives free reign to the Zerg who just wants to expand all over the place.
Mothership Core getting a little bit out of position and recalls itself, does get off, but he does scout through that all the Mutalisks and the Corruptors, so that may have been a mistake, but it ended up working out in his favor, and possibly he just did that to scout to begin with.
Yeah. So that now he's actually going to be making more Void Rays. Mothership Core does come back, and he's committing to the Colossus too. So he's got 2 on the field. A 3rd one is on its way, as a couple Zerglings do poke up here. So he's got quite a diverse army.
Yeah, and sometimes that can be a detriment, though. I mean, when all he has is air units, there's not really a lot of ground units on the field right now. These Colossus aren't going to be super helpful, and they do eat up a lot of money. They eat up a lot of food that could otherwise be something that can actually shoot the army that exists. But Spiderslayer looks like he's going to be wrapping into the 3rd base here to try and do some damage.
Yeah, he doesn't really have much here to defend this. Typically, you'd want to see some cannons or something back here, but the Mutalisk is going to do a lot of damage to these probes. 1 cannon here is going to shoo them away a bit as the Phoenix come in.
Does take out a pylon as well, which is boon. Oh, look at that. One of those Phoenix does go down. Trying to get that 2nd pylon to stop these gateways, and nope, doesn't quite get it.
Decides he doesn't want to commit to it, and it's probably smart. He would have lost at least a couple Corruptors there if he would have gotten that extra shot on that pylon. So, I mean, Dancer's army is looking pretty good. There's a Zergling here that scouted out the 4th base of Dancer, so both players going to be on a fairly high economy here. Storm coming down for Dancer as well.
But the problem here is that Dancer, to deal with that one Zergling, pulled his entire army back, so now his 3rd is left vulnerable again, and in swing the Mutalisks once again. Proton Overcharge is down on that Nexus, but the Mothership Core does fall, and everything is going down here.
Yeah, the ground army mostly is kind of lumbering its way back. There's no great path between these bases.
And it looks like just continuing to reinforce some more Mutalisks, and he's got upgrades as well, so it's possible that he's went heavy and is then going to transition when he gets into Hive Tech into a little bit more.
We have 96 drones for Spiderslayer right now.
Holy moly.
That's a lot of drones.
That's a lot of drones. He's got all the economy right now.
Yeah, he has all the economies, and I expect at some point he's going to be putting down a lot of static defense, which I am a visionary because there's all the spine crawlers going down the middle of the map, which is very smart.
Well, when you're sitting at 3,500, 1,600, you got to do something with that money.
Yep, that is a fact. So now the question is, how does Dancer deal with this? Because this Mutaball is getting quite large. The Corruptors are actually not all that numerous right now. So him sensing that, or seeing that he's going with the Void Rays and maybe staying away from the Corruptors as much as trying to get the huge Mutaball. And 2-2 upgrades going down for the air units right now. Hive coming down as well.
And Dancer, one thing that he has been doing well is he's keeping this Colossus near his air units, so they haven't been able to be taken down yet. And that is going to be helpful for him once the ground units start to come forward.
Oh, but a big swing around there. Mute is going to take out all the Void Rays. Oh. Big storm goes down. But again, just like it's so difficult with those storms because the Mutalisks are so fast. Yeah. Even if you do half damage to them and they heal so fast,
they do heal very fast.
If you can't finish them off.
Yeah, you really have to kind of corner them in a number of storms to make them fly through them.
Yeah, it almost seems like lately these storms are just a good defensive mechanism against them to shoo them away.
Right, exactly. Almost like, when your aim is really bad with a fly swatter.
That's true. But Spiderslayer is almost at 200 food now, so he's going to be getting into his ultimate army. We look at what he has. It's 96 drones, 17 Zerglings, 27 Mutalisks, and 4 Corruptors. So he's going to want to be bringing that drone number down now as he gets his +2/+2 done. And he's trying to take out the rocks here between this third base. But Dancer going to be moving into these spine crawlers. Oh, spine crawlers take out one Colossus.
And that's no good. Dancer is doing some shenaniganry. He does have a warp prism in whatever the 5th base is, and he is warping in some of those zealots. So he is forcing the Mutalisks to go multiple places. But once again, Spiderslayer just says, you know what? I have more bases than you. I'm just going to run in and do all the damage that I can.
Yeah, Dancer trying to get as much done as he can. I thought he was trying to get there to be ready for a recall, but Spiderslayer doing a good job of splitting up his units here, taking out this 3rd as well as the 4th. So, base trade?
It looks like that is the idea, but Spiderslayer's at 200 and Dancer has half that food.
And look at the bank of Spiderslayer. He's got 7,000 minerals on the bank and 3,000 gas. So, I mean, he could make 30 mutas right away.
And once again, you know, Spiderslayer has really controlled the tempo of this game. Unless something crazy happens, I'm not sure how Dancer's going to be able to make up this food differential, frankly, especially when he's losing all of these bases.
Again, he has a similar kind of army, though. A lot of Templar with a lot of Storm at the ready. Three Archons, 2 Colossus, and this is looking very similar to last game. But the Templar are getting a bit out of position there. He does have a Warp Prism too, so he's going to try and warp in as much as he can here while he still can.
Yeah. But Spiderslayer doing the same as he was before. He's moving the drones around. He's retaking bases that he's killing from Dancer. And so he's not taking any chances. And when you have 6,000 in the bank, I mean, you can just do whatever you want.
Oh, the Templar getting a little out of position there. 2 Mutalisks going to be trying to do some damage there. No, but he does... taking out a lot of these Overlords here, it is going to supply box Spiderslayer quite a bit. He's down to 150 supply, 160 army, but 150 supply space. But he's just clearing out. Oh, Templar, big... Giant storms go down all of the mutas except for how many?
And the food basically is equalized now. Something amazing happened, and and there's the recall.
If those would have been a little bit quicker, he might have been able to get another couple storms off to finish off the mutas. But that was huge. That killed half the muta army. He's down to only 15 mutas.
But I mean, he
has his main base.
But here's where the bank comes into play. He's got enough capacity to get back to 200, and as soon as he's got the larva, he's going to be able to continue to rebuild that army. Dancer still does have the Warp Prism and is trying to get some Zealots in, but you know, against those Mutalisks, they're not really getting very far.
Spiderslayer with the balls of steel here, taking a base at the 3rd base of Dancer, just taking all the bases. Dancer doesn't know it's there, so he's just going to go and do a similar thing he did last game, now go around just start clearing out Spiderslayer's bases. And there are a lot of static defenses here, but I mean, this Mutaball isn't as huge as it was, but 3/3 upgrades going down for the air units of Spiderslayer, and 3/3 mutas are quite the force to be reckoned with.
Dancer does see those Mutalisks and Corruptors going by, decides to ignore them for now.
Spiderslayer does only have 1/1 on his ground units, but not using that many ground units, but 2 attack, 1...
This is going to be painful. All of these spine crawlers are moving in. There's a ton of banelings in the back once the spine crawlers get their job done, and now the banelings are moving in. This is going to hurt quite a bit. That is a lot of banelings. The Templar are running for their lives. Oh!
If he would have put down a time warp, he could have basically killed all of that off before it got there, but now the Mutalisks moving back into the main base of Dancer, they're going to wreak their havoc here, and he does not...
There's no Mothership Core
anymore.
So he can't get back. This is the real base trade scenario. There are no more Nexi, and there are no more probes
and
either.
GG from Dancer. So that was fairly expected there, as the food was nearly double. GG, but no one actually quit.
Yeah,
so I guess we'll just hang.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he's AFK. He's not really moving.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if he...
Well, Spiderslayer's continuing to kill the main base of Dancer.
There's another...
There we
go. Okay.
All right.
A little bit of indecision.
A little bit of fake out there.
Yeah.
So great job by Spiderslayer winning 2-0. Those were not close games by any stretch. Just amazing games. The first game just a really interesting and fun to watch base trade. Second game could have turned into that. Just a real positioning battle.
Yeah, that storm that killed all those mutas, that was really an amazing play by Dancer. Unfortunately, he just did not have the infrastructure. He did not have the economy to bounce back from that. And Spiderslayer having all the bases across the map, having huge bank, even if he kept losing Overlords, even if he lost all those Mutalisks, he could just remax at his will.
Yep. So we will be coming back with an interview with our winner, Spiderslayer, here in a couple minutes, but we're going to go to a quick break while we get him corralled over here. So hang on with us, and we will